Okay, I'm Chris Avena with American Outdoor News, and today we're here with my friend John Stallone from Howl for Wildlife. John, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Now, you've been at this for a little while now. Can you tell us how you developed and put together Howl for Wildlife? It was not an easy undertaking.
No, it wasn't. Me personally, I guess I officially started like advocating sometime in 2016, I think. I started trying to put together an initiative which goes hand in hand with some of the stuff we're going to talk about today, where I wanted hunters to be better to hunters. We're always fighting about, the bow hunters and the rifle hunters, the Matthew shooters and the Hoyt shooters and the that, but
And the
always,
crossbow and
yeah,
whatnot, and
all the dumb stuff that we fight about. And,
we're our own worst enemies.
yeah, who wears Sika, who wears Kuiu, who's a real tree, all this dumb crap that we waste time and energy on that doesn't have any real effect on what we do. Um, that's kind of what sparked my initial interest, and then I started looking into more and more what was going on. Um, the last 50 years, that how the narrative's been spelled out by the anti-hunters and the the public perception of what a hunter is. Um, that kind of got me involved, and then one of my best friends and my number one hunting partner, Charles Whitwam, him and I were just spitballing back and forth, and an initiative came up in California, and to prevent, or not to prevent, but to end bear hunting, and um, I suggested using the the platform change.org, and we pushed it out to all our friends. We knew a lot of people, me being in the industry and so on and so forth, and it just steamrolled, and it sparked an idea, and then Charles expanded on that. He kind of was the brainchild behind a lot of the way the inner workings of our website and our system works, and here we are a couple of years later, and we've had tremendous success, and it's been it's been a crazy ride. Um,
So it takes time to form a non-for-profit,
yep.
uh, get your name out there, the marketing, and your website alone is really spectacular. It's really unique because people can go there with an issue in their area and actually send a pre-form letter on that very topic to their local representatives.
Right. Um, and you said something specific, and I'm going to circle back to that, but I'm just going to answer how the website works. Again, it's it's a tool. The website is a tool that connects sportsmen, outdoorsmen. I don't even like to use sportsmen, as I'll use those interchangeably, but uh,
Hmm.
I don't want hunting and fishing to be viewed as a sport. So outdoorsmen, um, to the decision makers of any policy that affects wildlife management, um, or affects the ability to hunt and fish directly.
Hmm.
So, but you said something that is very um, unique to the mindset of how people operate, especially the outdoorsman group. Um, and that is going to get involved in something that is near and dear to them, as opposed to looking at hunting and fishing as a whole, and say we're all in this together, and that it's important that I get involved in everything, even if I don't do that thing, if
Sure.
that makes sense. So, there's been this like blind epidemic of wokenness in this country, and those that are willing to subscribe to it are, they're willing to cut off their noses to spite their face, and that's extremely evident in the anti-hunting organizations, and issues that concern wildlife management. So, we're willing to do things to. I'm going to give you a really stupid example, and this is not something we were involved in, but there was a big push here in Arizona where I live to save aspen trees in a certain unit. And one of the bright ideas to do that was to put a bunch of tags for elk in that unit. So, because elk like to feed on young aspen and they do damage. So instead of, so let's kill off the elk to save the aspen. Is that cut off my nose to spite my face thing? It's like,
Why don't
there's
they
not a
just
lot. Yeah.
why don't they just plant more aspen?
Or build exclusion areas, which they've done, in some places. You put up a fence that stops them from going into these new groves and whatever. Okay, and then you take the fence down. Yes, it's all about money. It's all about whatever. And I'm not gonna. I have enough knowledge to know what goes into wildlife management, but I'm not gonna sit here and give my opinion, because I've been out of that for quite some time. And I don't want to. I know there's people that know better than me, so I'm not going to get into that. But going back to what I was saying earlier, so there's been this, years of my phone keeps going off. I apologize. It's driving me nuts. It's cutting off my ability to speak here. I'm going to put this over here so I don't have to hear that buzzing. There's been years of the anti-hunting complex, I'm going to call it, that they've been, pumping out narratives and propaganda and lies to sway the minds of the middle ground, the non-hunting public. And, it's been going on for decades. You look at movies, you look at anything, the hunter is always the anti-hero, or he's always creepy.
We're the bad guys.
I say he, but he, she. There's very, 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 very few examples of the hunter being the hero or the good guy in anything in the last like 50 years or so. We're always bloodthirsty, always the Elmer Fudd, it's just like you said, the bad guy. So, that was a long game that they were playing. We relied on the fact that we were always, doing good for actual conservation. Our money was going back to putting animals on the mountain, in the woods, and we relied on that. We also relied heavily on the fact that if you look at hunting and fishing as an industry, it's ginormous. And like the reality is that as if it went away today, much like other industries that are, highly connected into the world, it would cripple. It would definitely cripple the United States.
What's it, $90 billion?
I don't even know what the numbers are.
I think it's up over $100 million that we contribute into the economy at this point.
Yeah.
That's billions. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. And there's so many other things too that, like, and I've said this many times before, I've used this example. There's so many other like things that are not counted in that are actually directly related to that. So,
sure.
Me personally, I can't use myself as an example because I'm a contractor by trade. So I probably still have a pickup truck, but how many guys would not own a 4-wheel drive pickup truck or as side by side or something if they weren't doing hunting and fishing,
Sure, sure. But then, you go on a trip, you're paying for lodging. You're
Yep.
going to the local gas station. You're stopping at the local grocery store. You're stopping at the pizza place. You're contributing to the local economies across the country.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's one of one of the main reasons why we've been able to survive. But as you know, as most people are witnessing in today's day age, uh, logic is getting thrown out the door. So
Come on.
even stuff like that is not being looked at.
True, true.
So, you know, ideologic, um, ideologic. Oh my God, I can't say the word.
Ideologically.
Yeah, is people or ideology, not ideologically. Ideology is more important today than logic. So
Yeah.
a lot of the logical things are being um, overshadowed and not being followed. And I don't want to get into a big political thing because I mean, unfortunately there is politics in what we're talking about, but um, the main goal out there is for us as a group to start changing or undoing the narrative that was put in place by the anti-hunters. We want people to understand all the good things that are associated with hunting and fishing, not just conservation work, not just the money that's generated, but the human side of it, the intrinsic values, the reason why you and I do this. We don't do this because we're like, oh, I'm doing this because I'm saving deer. We're doing this because it's part of our heritage. It's the meat that we enjoy. It's the camaraderie. It's this. There's all these like.
Here's the thing, John. The left has a unified narrative, and they stick to it by the numbers. We are all over the map.
Yeah.
We're doing it because of this. We're doing it because of that. We don't have a unified narrative, a unified answer of why we do things. We work purely on emotion. I do it to fill my freezer. I do it because I enjoy the meat. I enjoy cooking it. I enjoy wild game. I enjoy waking up and going out into the woods and watching the woods come alive. Whatever it is, it's all the same thing. We just need to put together that narrative that acts as one voice.
Yes, absolutely. And again, I don't like to make it left and right because there are a lot of outdoorsmen that are or Democratic.
Yeah, and there's something fundamentally wrong with that.
Maybe I don't know because I just don't think. I think now when people say Democrat, you automatically think of way over here. You don't. If you think back, come on, when we were kids, and
The Democrats of
it wasn't
20
like,
years ago are
no,
not the Democrats today.
it's
They would
not.
be considered conservatives,
Exactly.
the progressives
Yes.
of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why I don't like to make it about left and right thing, because there's so many people that, regardless of how they vote, um, you know, are still have share a lot of the same views that we do. And
Mm-hmm.
that's, and I say we, meaning, you and I in this podcast. But anyway, I want to go back to, because I feel like I don't want to take us down that road. But if we look at history, we've done a piss poor job of educating non-hunters on the reality and the foundations of the North American model of conservation. Non-hunters don't know that the reason that they can take a walk on public land or see herds of elk and deer because of the efforts of
Hmm.
hunters and anglers. They don't know that wildlife management funding for habitat comes from funds generated from Pittman Robertson, donations to conservation groups, license and tag sales. They don't know this stuff. They would rather the other side would rather you believe that hunters and anglers only take and that we hate wildlife and that because of us there's going to be no more wildlife uh, for, for everybody else to enjoy. And you and I know that couldn't be further from the truth. But the fact of the matter is, the middle ground doesn't understand that. Hell, half the hunters I talk to don't really understand the model of conservation. They don't understand that it's a user pay system. They don't really know that, you know, uh, we're all interconnected, that the deer hunter in New York is the same as the, you know, bear hunter in Arizona. Like they don't understand this. Um, you know, part of the problem is that hunters and anglers, we typically keep to ourselves. We have the mindset of you don't impose your life choices on me and I won't impose my life choices on you. And this is a great way to live. However, it's this mindset that has taken us out of the fight when it comes to matters that affect wildlife management or that infringe on our ability to hunt and fish. Most hunters don't know that you know they cannot, not only can they, but they should get involved in issues that would put these, you know, anything that would put these things in jeopardy. You know, I hear the argument all the time. Oh, I don't hunt that, or I don't hunt there, or so
It
why should
it
I
don't
care?
matter.
Why
It
should
don't
I?
matter.
Yeah. Uh, Actually, I'm
It,
going to give you a great example. Okay. I actually just wrote this out, so I wrote this out. I was writing an article, so I'm going to pull this up real quick. Um, okay. Actually, I'm going to try to do it without reading it because I know all that, and it's going to sound funny if I read it. So let's put it. This is a good example. And again, let me preface this example with the only reason why hunting and fishing exist is because of the money we generate and the voice that gives us at the conservation table. It's a user pay system. Okay. So let's say they're trying to ban, okay, I'll use the example that I used before. They're trying to ban bear hunting in California. And you're a deer hunter from New York, okay? And so why should you care about what happens in California on a species you don't hunt? You only hunt deer. You don't even hunt bear in your own state. Okay, you're a diehard deer hunter, whitetail hunter. You don't even hunt muleys. Okay, you're a diehard whitetail hunter, and they're going after bear in California. Well, let's just say the anti-hunters succeed and California loses bear hunting. Okay, just like you, who only hunts deer in New York, there's a percentage of hunters in California that only hunt bear. That's their thing. Your thing is this, their thing is that. Yes, mind you, it's probably a lot smaller, but
hmm.
that's their thing. Now they have taken away what they're passionate about, um, and we've lost that portion of a voice at the table. Okay. Those same bear hunters we lost are no longer buying licenses, which has reduced the funding,
Hmm.
which again has further shrank your voice. Okay. All the other hunters that would buy a bear tag that are not, you know, diehard just bear hunters, but they would just buy a bear tag, again, there goes that funding. Again, makes your voice smaller and the seat at the table smaller. Now, if they lose bear hunting in California, this sets a precedence for them to come after bear hunting in New York, right?
Sure.
So keep this in mind. The anti-hunters, their ultimate goal is to end all hunting. And they're going to systematically attack they're going to chip away. It's a war of attrition, okay, until they reach their goal.
Yep.
So let's look at it this way too. Bears are a large factor in predation on deer in California. Uh, more bears means less deer. Less deer means less tags. Less tags means less funding. And now you have a smaller voice again. Okay.
Yep.
So think about it this way. Maybe that bear hunter in California only owned guns or bought sporting equipment because they bear hunted. Now that they don't do that, they don't need to go buy ammo and guns and so on and so forth. So they're no longer federally contributing to Pittman Robertson.
Correct.
Pittman Robertson is distributed throughout all the states. So now there's actually less funding to be distributed to New York. Am I connecting the dots enough? Do you understand how there's a ripple effect when this happens here? That happens there?
There's always a ripple effect, and for every action, there's a reaction.
Yeah.
So if we don't act together, sooner or later, those rights are going to be gone, and that's their long game.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's they want the reason why they attack predators. One, it's the low hanging fruit. It's easier if you look at the polls. 75% of the non-hunting public, or actually 75% of the United States, is on board with hunting for meat.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you take away deer and elk and you say we're going to be hunting bear and lions, that approval rating goes down from 75% to like the teens.
Well, bear isn't commonly known as being hunted for the meat,
Exactly.
but bear meat is delicious.
It is. Absolutely. Actually, most people prefer it over deer.
It's true.
If you put it side by side and did a blind taste test, you would probably prefer bear meat over deer.
Well, if you look at,
Same with lion. Lion's very pork-like. It's excellent.
yeah,
That's fair.
I mean, if you look at the anti-hunters, what is the poster child for anti-hunting? The wolf.
Oh yeah.
The wolf is the poster child for the anti-hunters, and the truth of the matter is, the wolf is a killing machine.
Oh yeah.
It's the biggest hunter out there.
Yep.
And if they're not controlled, they will completely destroy an ecosystem.
Well, you're starting to make what my point was going to be. So their goal, not only, like I said, that the predator is or megafauna like that is a low-hanging fruit because it has less approval rating. It's easier to get, if they just came in and try to knock down deer, they are trying to, by proxy, take you out of the equation. Their goal is, we want bears and lions and wolves to regulate prey so that hunters are not needed to take away the surplus, and they're being, the whole conservation model and so on and so forth collapses. So they know that if bear hunting goes away or lion hunting goes away, there's going to be, like I said earlier, there's going to be less tags available for hunters to remove the surplus. And they're hoping that it gets to a point that we're no longer needed as a tool for management.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's that main argument that we have is taken out of the equation.
Well, if you looking at it that way, and again, going back to the wolf that they already took off the table, there's no wolf hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the reintroduction into Yellowstone National Park. They put in X amount of wolves who have produced puppies and grown their packs.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at the result of the elk herds and the deer herds in Yellowstone National Park. They're decimated.
Yeah.
So, yeah, even though there's no hunting in those parks for us,
Yeah. There's definitely a profound effect from large predators. And if you want to, Dr. Valerius Geist, who's no longer with us, he had some amazing data and studies done and spoke a lot about predator pits. Predator pits is a lot of what results when you don't have management um, of these apex predators. And there's tons of data in I believe in the Yukon and BC and areas like this where um, they basically become like deserted. It's hard just to find animals in general.
Hmm.
So that is something if you want to educate yourself. I have read it. Um, I haven't digested the data enough to be able to speak to it um, proficiently. So I am going to leave that on you if it's something you guys want to look into. Look up Dr. Valerius Weiss and look up Geist, excuse me, and look up predator pits. That's huge. But I will say this: if there, the idea that if you left wildlife alone, it would take care of itself is, and this is from my own personal experience and from uh, my education background. Excuse me. Um, it's not possible today. The idea that that is possible might have worked when there was a few million people in the world, or less than a billion people. We're pretty close to 8 billion people. And as a species, we consume everything. Everything we do is consumption. We buy new phones every other year. We, computers, this, that. We have roadways everywhere. We're constantly developing. We're taking up habitat. We're expanding. So our fingerprint is on everything, everything we touch. There's no way that the that Mother Nature, okay, we'll call it Mother Nature, can regulate what goes on with its own with just prey and predators because we affect everything. We're involved in it. And then the other idea is, yes, we live in cities, we live in in civilization, but we're not aliens to this planet. We're not, you know, uh, separate. We're part of nature. We're actually animals, right? We're mammals,
Sure.
right? Just because in the last, couple hundred years or whatever, we learned how to live in houses and whatever, that that doesn't take us away. We're part of nature. We're part of the cycle. Uh, but we're also the part that has the most intellectual brain, at least that we know of anyway. And it's on us as humans to be, you know, the one that manages everything. We want to keep things around. That's why it's called conservation. We want to
Sure.
conserve with and use and conserve and would still have for perpetuity the resources. We don't, you know, that's another big thing. Like they're stealing that word conservation. They are preservationists, which is very different than conservationists.
Yeah.
You know, conservationists have an active role in the life cycle of other beings. Okay, preservationists are like bird watchers that watch from afar. They don't have any interaction. They're not part of the system. But we are.
They're they're restrictive preservationists.
Yeah. So and there's plenty of science, like actual science, not social science. That's the other thing that we see often from the other side is that they're pushing the social sciences. You know, um, actual science, data-based science, shows us the right things to do. Do we get it wrong sometimes? Yeah, we get it wrong sometimes. We're not perfect. But the track record has shown that if you follow the science, you're going to get the results. And I believe that anti-hunting is anti-wildlife. That's one of the things that we preach at Howl for Wildlife is that if they were to succeed, there's a very good chance that their goal will end wildlife.
Hmm.
You might have this predator pit. You might have a lion population problem and it take out all the deer and now they're dying off because they have nothing to eat. And there's I don't know, there's just so many um, avenues of their thought process that is incorrect. You know,
Well, we have pumped billions of dollars back into conservation. It's the Pittman Robinson is a self-imposed tax. Out of all the contributions and money that PETA has raised, how much money of that has actually gone into the conservation?
zero.
Exactly. They raise money and it goes towards hate campaigns. How to convince people why we're the bad guys.
Most of their money is set aside for litigating, for uh, educating the non-hunting public on their agenda and their views.
Exactly.
Most of it
Exactly.
lines their pockets.
And pays their exorbitant salaries.
Exactly.
Now, you are going to be at a show coming up where is that?
Yeah, so one of the big Western shows here is the Mule Deer Foundation Hunt Expo in Utah in Salt Lake City in February. Um, it's the 15th, I believe, through the 18th. And we will be there. We possibly may be at the National Wild Turkey Federation. It's at the exact same time. We just got a hunt donated in with the sheep show in Reno.
Okay.
It's for the Hill Ranch. It's a famous elk hunting ranch. Like those hunts go for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we've gotten that with taxidermy guide and all that stuff put in that. We're working closely with CRWM, which is Coloradoans for Responsible Wildlife Management, and they're the boots on the ground spearhead for right now in Colorado is being faced with um, a possible lion and bobcat and lynx ban, which nobody hunts lynx because they're federally protected anyway, but it's in there. The anti-hunters have put together a petition to get this on the ballot, which is what they did for the wolves. And when people weren't paying attention, they got this to be on the ballot. They have the money in place. They have something like $1 million a week budget that they can pump propaganda into, Boulder and Denver and, these areas that are most densely populated with possible sympathetic supporters.
Mm-hmm.
So they have, like I said, 1 million. They have this, like, I think it's a political action committee. I can't remember exactly, but they have money set aside that anytime something pops up in these areas, they're set to go. We, as hunters, we don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
We put money, we give money to, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, Sheep Foundation, Mule Deer Foundation. We give money to, and that money goes to conservation efforts. It goes to putting animals, and that's all necessary, great stuff. but we don't have anything that builds a war chest for us. That's actually one of the things that we're working on. Powerful Wildlife is working to build a war chest so that when stuff pops up in other states, or any state, I should say, not other states, in any state, that we can do an education campaign that speaks to the non-hunting public. Hey, this is the realities. These are the facts. These are the things. You have the information now. You do what you do. We're not going to tell people how to vote or whatever, but we want to arm them with the reality, with the truth, and that's not happening. So you talked about wolves. Colorado got wolves well, there was already wolves in Colorado.
Yeah, but they just reintroduced more.
They added more. Okay. So, and the reason, and we lost by like less than 1%. Now, there was people talking then. There was, me, myself, I did a podcast back in 2020 on it. And there was people talking about it. There was people involved, but it wasn't at the level that was necessary.
Yeah.
Or the level that potentially we could do. When we and I saw this, and Charles and I saw this when we did that bear change.org. We had 22,000 people sign that petition in 5 days and donate $18,000.
Wow.
5 days. Okay. So that to me tells me the voice, the strength is there. It can happen. So going back to Colorado, they waited, I guess, until it was on the ballot, and then tried to stop it. They had like 17 months of fundraising to produce, commercials and so on and so forth, produce media and to distribute it. And I think, and don't quote me on the numbers, but I think they took in like $500,000 in 17 months.
Wow.
Versus the $1 million per week that the anti-hunters have. So we've gotten involved with CRWM. It's a great organization. They are a 501c4, so they are the tip of the spear. They can get involved in lobbying. They can get involved in the political stuff better than Hal can. And we recognize that, and that's important. So that's another problem that happens within the hunting industry, is that organizations are afraid to point their member base to another organization for fear that they're going to lose membership or potential funding for their own stuff. And we're trying to change that narrative. We're trying to listen, again, back to what I said, we're all in this together. If we don't start fighting, it doesn't matter if you had the best, fighters in the world, if everybody's, or the best team, let's put it on, football or something like that where people can understand. You have the best football team ever, meaning you have the most talented players. But if they're not working together and everybody's doing their own thing,
they're not winning.
They're not winning, right? You can have a dream team, and if it's not, if you're not firing on all cylinders, you're not going to win. And so it's important for us to start realizing this, and hopefully we're leading from example, or by example, and leading from the front, and doing things this way. Powerful Wildlife needs money. We need money terribly, to do what we do. Myself, Charles, everybody that's on the board, all the volunteers that work for us, nobody has been paid a cent since the start of this. Okay. And I bring this up only to point out we have been able to raise like, I don't know, $800,000 towards for CRWM. Early on, we were able to raise like $70,000 for a bear study in Arkansas um, for blood origins. So we're trying to show you that even though, wow, Hal really could use that $800,000. It means if I had $800,000 right now, it means the 10 projects that are sitting up on the shelf, I can hire people to start working on those.
Sure.
But I have to put that aside because I want people to understand and view things the way that we're looking at it. If we don't get involved together, if we don't start spearheading things together and collectively bringing our voice to one howl, one voice, one howl, you remember that.
Absolutely.
So if we don't start doing that, we're not going to win games,
Sure. So where can everybody find you, Hal for Wildlife? How can we get to you?
You can go to howl, HOWL.org or howlforwildlife.org. They both go to the same place. And we have a number of different memberships for people to get involved in. And we've done things that are outside the box, like I don't know if are you familiar with GoHunt?
Yeah.
So GoHunt is a tool that hunters use to get tags, to do research on their hunts, so on and so forth. And we partnered with them. We partnered with onX, Elk Calling Academy, few different other, the American Bear Foundation, the Pope and Young. So American Bear Foundation, Pope and Young. If you wanted to be a member, you can come and get our joint membership. This is, again, see, these are organizations that understood what we were trying to get at right from the get-go. American Bear Foundation and Pope and Young, they get it.
Yes.
So instead of you going to spend $30 and becoming a member, or I don't know what the pricing is, to be honest with you, I'm just throwing out arbitrary numbers. To go get one membership, you spend $45 and you get both memberships. And we're sharing that membership with them because we have a collective goal. And we're doing the same thing with GoHunt and with onX. And you could just have just a straight Howl for Wildlife membership as well too, which is $30 a year.
Okay.
And we've also looked at it like we want people to be involved. So I'm not going to tell you, Chris, you can't be involved if you don't pay my membership. We've even offered if we have a free membership on there.
Sure.
You don't have the perks, you don't have the things that you can get with it, but you sign up for a free membership, you get the notifications of when stuff is happening, and you get involved.
Yep.
Nobody else is doing that. Most people are like, yeah, you can't help because you don't pay me $30 a year, and
yeah.
That to me is maybe from a business standpoint for us, it's not the smartest idea, because it gives people an out. You know how this stuff works. People feel guilty. They're like, oh, I'm involved. Okay, I'm going to spend the $30 a year to be involved. But now we eliminated the guilt of spending the $30 a year. I can still be involved and still do my part, and it doesn't. So from a business standpoint, it's not the greatest thing, but collectively, I think we're going to make the most and affect the most change and do the most good by running this model.
It gains you traction.
So,
but all right, we're running out of time. I will have this up today.
Oh, awesome.
But thanks again for coming on, and go to howlforwildlife.org and definitely get involved.
Awesome.
Thanks again, John.